So, what I wanted to talk about today was the idea that when you start to truly express what you believe, the people around you begin to get uncomfortable. And I find this, it's almost comical because we live in a society that largely encourages us to be ourselves. Yet, when we actually do that, people tend to react in all sorts of negative and defensive ways. And there's psychological reasons behind this. It actually has nothing to do with us being right or wrong. And that's what I'm aiming to talk about today. Why is it that people get so defensive when we're simply trying to express something that we believe to be true, or we're simply starting to think independently? And I'm also going to try and touch on the psychology behind why growth feels threatening to certain people and why disagreement often feels like a personal attack when that's never or usually not the underlying intention at all. There's one thing I would say though is that we should all start to see reactions in a different way. See them for what they are because they usually reveal far more about the other person's insecurities than anything else. And by the end, we should understand that standing up for yourself, standing up for what you believe to be true will create resistance. But that resistance is to be seen as proof that you're evolving. It's proof that you're moving forward and you're continuing to grow. If you're anything like me, you might have held your beliefs quite close to your chest. You knew what you believed in, you knew what you stood for, but you weren't expressing it as freely as you might have liked. And that's the point. When you start to express yourself more freely and really stand up for what you believe, that's when people start, they feel the need to tear you down. And they don't do this because they think you're wrong. They do it because your truth, it threatens the foundation of theirs. And if you've ever wondered why this is, stick with me because what I'm about to share can change the way that you view every disagreement in your life. Nobody defends their beliefs because they're solid. They defend them because they're weak and unstable. Think about it. If someone truly felt secure in what they believed, why would anybody else's perspective threaten that? It just wouldn't happen. Confidence doesn't get defensive. Insecurity gets defensive, and people react aggressively when your point of view touches a place in them that they've never bothered to examine themselves. It's not your ideas that scare them. It's the possibility they might have been wrong this whole time. And that, unfortunately, it doesn't just challenge their thinking, it challenges their identity. And there's one thing that I can tell you is that if you challenge someone's identity, that is the one thing that people will protect more ferociously than anything else because it's so linked to the ego. However, I've been guilty of overlooking the simple fact that the majority of our beliefs were never chosen in the first place. They were inherited. They were passed down from parents, from culture, religion, childhood conditioning, and we absorbed them long before we had the resources or maturity to question them. So here we are, trying to carry our brand new perspectives forward into the room. It doesn't just offer an alternative idea, it presses against the very framework of their worldview, the whole frame, the structure of what they've built themselves up to believe. And to them, it's not just oh, I simply disagree. It's everything that I've known up until this point might not be true. And that will naturally scare the shit out of most people. When I reflect over my 20s, I walked around thinking that I had everything figured out. I thought I'd cracked the code, and I couldn't have been further from the truth. But what that did for me was lead me to adopting an open mind because my beliefs changed so many times over the years. I came to understand that fixed beliefs only create the illusion of safety. There's nothing special about the beliefs themselves. We have simply attached a meaning and a sense of self to them. And when someone links their identity to their belief system, good luck changing their mind without a fight. If you challenge the belief, they'll just feel as though you're challenging them. And that's why people attack you instead of actually engaging with your point of view. They're unable to detach their beliefs from their sense of self. They're unable to debate your beliefs because they're too busy trying to protect themselves from the discomfort that comes from questioning their own. And if you can stand up for what you believe in, then you should be proud of yourself because when you do that, you cast a shadow. And in that shadow is everything and everyone that wants to tear you down. And unfortunately, the taller you stand, the larger and darker that shadow becomes. But it's also worth it because it makes you someone who is respectable. It makes you someone who knows themselves. If you don't know what you believe in, how do you know who you are? And I think this is what a lot of it comes down to. Your courage to think differently exposes their fear of doing the same. Your willingness to grow reveals where they're staying the same. Your open-mindedness highlights their closed-minded mentality, and people feel exposed They don't seek truth. They seek safety, and attacking you will always feel safer than examining themselves. But what I want you to remember is this: when people react badly, it's not evidence that you're wrong or misguided. It's evidence that you're evolving. It's evidence that you're moving forward, and you also have the balls to stand firm. Growth will always create resistance, but if someone tries to silence you or mock you or dismiss you, it's because you've stepped outside the boundaries that they never had the balls to cross themselves. You've become something that they were conditioned not to be, and that's someone who can actually think for themselves. When they push back, which they will, it means your voice is powerful enough to shake the things they've never questioned. So don't change, don't shrink, and don't conform, because the world won't change when everybody agrees with each other. It will change when someone like you dares to think a little differently, to stand tall in what you believe. Your voice might be exactly what is needed to put someone on the right track, or to have them finally question their own limits.
I really appreciate you staying to the end. Thank you. And I hope you took some value or found some interest in what I shared today. And I really look forward to speaking to you again soon.